everybody, welcome back to a Geek Out Time, where Mary and I basically talk about a movie we just saw, and we just saw Jordan Peele's Us. So, just real quick, this is not a review, this is just us geeking out, just giving our thoughts about movies that we love or don't, or whatever in between. We don't think of ourselves as critics, we're just talking about a movie we love, sharing our opinions with you, looking to hear your opinions. That being said, we will do some non-spoiler real briefly up front, just to give you an idea if you don't want spoilers, and then we'll give you a heavy spoiler warning before we start talking spoilers.
Okay.
So that said, I think we...
So the alien invasion.
No, you didn't spoil warning. No, stealing my joke, man. It's like the dad jokes in the movie. So I think we both actually came out of this a little bit disappointed.
First of all, I was expecting to actually be scared.
Yeah, like, cause...
And I'm an easy scare.
We should tell them that part of it, too. The joke is, like, she enjoyed Get Out, and she likes campy horror, but she doesn't, traditionally do real horror.
And I can do, like, psychological horror.
Right.
But it's like, when it gets really gross and graphic is when I start going like, nah. like, when you see the knife go into the eye or something like that. That's right. Like, no, I can't do that.
And then my thing with it was, because she saw Get Out and it was Oscar nominated, and I guess in my brain, I just assumed we had a discussion that she wanted to see it, and she was willing to see it, so I just went ahead and bought us tickets because I was excited. And then like 2 days ago, she's like, you never actually asked me if I wanted to see this. I was like, I mean, obviously we could have canceled. I gave you multiple opportunities, but she was willing to try, and I appreciate that she's willing to try. But
only because I like to Get Out so much.
Right, that's kind of what I figured.
Like, maybe I can handle this.
Right, and she could.
Yeah.
And she was really kind of worried. We were both a little bit worried about, oh God, how intense, how terrifying, how violent, how gory is this going to be? Mm-hmm. Not that bad. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely there. But that said, a little bit disappointed. Now, again, it's okay. First and foremost, it's definitely not as good as Get Out. It's a sophomore effort. Usually, most filmmakers' second movies aren't as good. I feel like, and I also feel like this came out real soon after Get Out, and I'm like, maybe...
Well, it's been 2 years.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah.
Was it 2? Yeah, it was 2 years, yeah. But, I guess that's about right. I feel like this one maybe could have taken another year, because I feel like it was a little bit undercooked in the script department. I mean, it starts off...
The people in it acted the hell out of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it starts off real well. Every performance, even the kids, are great. The creepiness of the... For lack of a better term here, we'll call it doppelgangers, because I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, that's a term that they use in the
Did they actually use that? Oh, and okay, so the doppelgangers, like, they were creepy, the way he would light them in the eyes. Yeah. There's some great shots, like camera angles he chose, like on the boat, and it rocks, but the boat doesn't move, but you see the outside world. Little things like that, awesome. And then, oh God, I'm not going to know half the actors. Winston Duke?
Yeah, that sounds right.
He was fantastic as the dad. Like, just right off the bat, his dad jokes everything.
He actually looks like Jordan Peele with his glasses on.
He really did. I think he might have been channeling some Jordan Peele. So, and again, the family dynamic is good and everything. And then the horror stuff kind of happened. Actually, it starts... Well, we'll get into that in spoils. But, and I think the first 2/3 are pretty good.
Yeah.
And then and then, like, the shit hits the fan as you would expect, and it's still pretty good. Really, for me, I think where the movie kind of lost me is towards the end. And we're not going to spoil anything yet, but I almost feel like what I was telling her is I feel like they didn't explain everything, and they didn't need to, but I think they explained more than they need to, which left me with questions that made me think about this, and it turns out it doesn't really matter. So, kind of like, I don't know. I think it would have been better with more mystery.
But then you'd be going like, but then what about this and what about that? And
but
then,
I think that
I think this you got painted into a situation where there's no good outcome.
But I think for me, that's what I think. I think it would have played off better if they didn't try to explain as much as they did, so that you could all have your own. Because it would have worked I think it would have left you with having your own interpretations.
Right.
And people could have argued about, no, I think it meant this, or I think this is what was really going on. So there's like and again, without spoiling, there's just one piece of information that really kind of hurts me, because I'm like, see, I don't like that. And even if you didn't want to tell me what, I would have just rather, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get to that in spoilers.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that in spoilers.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then there's like a super twist at the end that I wanted, and I started thinking, ooh, would it be cool if this was the twist? But kind of by the time they get to it, it wasn't that powerful for me, and I kind of saw it like definitely coming at that point.
What a twist.
Yeah, what a twist. I mean, you even said it was kind of Shyamalan-esque.
It's very Shyamalan-esque, actually.
And not necessarily the good parts. And again, I don't want it to sound like we're ripping this film. It's totally worth seeing. Some of it, again, for me,
I can see why he's doing the Twilight Zone.
Oh, absolutely.
remake.
And if anything, I feel like this was maybe like, it should have been like a 45-minute Twilight Zone episode.
What was this, like 2 hours?
It's like at least 90 minutes. It may have been 100. I don't know exactly what the runtime was, but probably closer to that. And I think maybe that's part of it, is maybe it was just stretched too far.
I mean, the pacing felt pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, it wasn't boring. It was never like dull or anything. It was just, I don't know. It's there's some oddness to it, but we can't really get into it without spoiling. So,
yeah.
But that's our thoughts. I'm still kind of processing truly how I feel about it. She survived it. I assume you're at least glad you saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, but at the same time, because I had certain expectations, and it's like, I wasn't really scared at all.
Yeah, and that may have hurt too, yeah. And
I'm sitting here going like, not that I necessarily want to be scared, but it's being done up as a scary movie, and I'm sitting here going like, I'm thinking way too much.
Well, I think that's a lot of it too, is your expectations. Because, I mean, I think there is some really scary stuff in here, and stuff that could be very terrifying. But again, I was reminded why I don't go to the theaters for horror movies anymore. And again, I get, people are going to have reactions. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I get it. But there was so much fucking talking, and so much clearly people telling jokes to their friends and getting them laughing at inappropriate things. And some of the really tense moments, there was like all this real inappropriate laughing. Like, not like...
I really didn't notice any of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And not like jump scare, oh, I'm laughing because you got me, which does annoy me, but it wasn't even that. It was just like, I don't know if it's because they weren't believing it, or it's because there was clearly a group of ladies that had been partying and came into this, and it's like, but I like to keep the tension. But anyways, I just felt there was more of that even than what you would normally get. So that also kind of took me out of some of the suspense and tension too, because I'm like, really? Like, there's this creepy as fuck thing happening on the screen, and all I'm hearing is you guys giggling and laughing back there. So anyways, that's the non-spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, here's the time to click off this video and come on back when you want to see what we thought about it spoiler-wise. So here's your warning. Spoilers. I'm reaching. Oh God, I gotta run across the room in case I have it on podcast style. Oh God, where's the pause button? Oh, come on, YouTube. Why won't that frame come up? There it is. And pause. Okay, spoiler warning. I like to make that exaggerated because I have a couple, like a podcast and some other things, and like Kevin Smith is really shit for doing this, and I love that guy, but it pisses me off, where they'll be like, spoiler warning, and this person dies. Like, there's not even a beat, for someone to hit pause. So I like to exaggerate that. Anyway, so we are in the spoiler section. Why don't you talk about how the beginning things threw you off?
Okay, so there's 3 lines of text at the very beginning talking about how there's just miles and miles of unused tunnels under the North American continent, old subway tunnels, old mine shafts, etc.
Some things we don't even know what their purpose is.
Yeah. and that's pretty much all it says, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah.
And then you get a tight shot of a rabbit in the cage, and
during the credits,
during the opening credits, and just to a whole wall of rabbits in cages and like school desks in front of it, and you're sitting here going like, okay.
So already, like, if you've come into this movie based on the marketing, you're already kind of thrown off guard, which could be a good thing, but I don't know that it works here.
It's just sitting here going like, how the fuck's this working?
Right, yeah, exactly. That's kind of the thing. Like, it's like, that's so out of left field from what they had shown you. Yeah. And it's like, well, okay, I guess that's going to tie to the explanation. I think they would have been better off
without putting that in.
I think so, too. Yeah, I would agree. I think that kind of hurt it, too. But then you get into this great flashback in the beginning. I thought that whole thing in the beginning with the girl at the Santa Monica Pier. Thank God, Kiefer Sutherland wasn't around with his vampire crew. But I thought all that was great, and that they showed the parents purely from the kids' perspective, pretty much. Like, it was always their backs. I mean, occasionally they turn around and talk to her, but it was really. And, her wandering off and the creepiness into the Hall of Mirrors and all of that. And even just that first look of her doppelganger and, like, the creepy eyes and, and I think like where the cast was predominantly, darker skinned, that really helped him with the lighting of selling that. And it was just really cool in that regard. And then it just kind of cuts right out of that flashback.
Yeah.
Like, right when it gets interesting. And you're like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's family vacation.
Right, yeah. Now we're on to the family vacation. And again, family, everybody does really good. I don't think any. Oh, I mean, the two kids. I don't think they stood out as great, but they never came across as bad or anything.
Yeah.
So I think that's
kids,
good.
But I tell you what,
I think they
turned
did better
vicious real quick.
Yeah, and I think they did better as the doppelgangers. Tim Heidecker was a total surprise in here. He was from Tim and Eric, and he was the.
I was wondering why he looked familiar.
Yeah.
And then the other girl is the lady from The Handmaid's Tale, isn't she?
Oh, okay. I did not know, and I haven't watched that series
Moss?
yet. Elisabeth Moss. Yeah, that sounds right. But they were kind of cool too, and again, I like, I mean, and the dad was doing these great corny dad jokes and all this stuff, and he's like, and we're gonna go to the beach, the real beach, and all this stuff, and like Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Maz Kanata. But she's like, right? But she starts freaking out, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I can see how maybe this never came up in their history, this trauma of her have disappeared for an hour as a child on this pier, on this beach that they're going to. But at least in that moment, maybe be like, honey, I need to tell you about why I don't want to go, because I had some serious childhood trauma there.
Yeah.
But as we learn later in the film, she's not quite normal.
Yeah, and I've got some questions there.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to that. But I tell you what, we won't take forever. But I had a lot of trailers not get monetized lately, or get demonetized before I got to release them. A lot of big number trailers, so I could use a few extra shekels. So we'll be right back. Okay, so back at it. So where do we want to go from there?
The rules of engagement seemed interesting, because there definitely seemed to be some things that the doppelgangers could not do.
Okay, and what? Because none of them really. Well.
Oh no. Like Elisabeth Moss, I feel like she really wanted to hurt the.
Oh,
main character.
Yeah. I would just go main mom, main dad.
Yeah.
That'll make it easier on us.
I'm so bad with names.
Me too.
My mom is just like, she was like, scissors right up to her face, and she's like, I want to do it, but I can't.
Right. Well, and you're right, I guess, because it was the main doppelganger's vengeance quest that started all this. As we learned, she was the leader of them all.
But you never saw a doppelganger go after anybody. Well, no, I take it back.
Yeah, because
the girl's doppelganger went after that guy.
Yeah,
I don't know if she killed him.
One of the twin daughters tried to go after her too. Well, I guess they could go after her to try and subdue her, but I guess they weren't going to kill her because the leader.
Okay, yeah. So never mind that. I just now that I've thought it through, I'm like, I forgot about the other thing.
But I will say, I think the hands down most shocking scene for me, again, because we were talking about how it wasn't quite as brutal or violent or gruesome. The one scene that I think really did work well there was Tim Heidecker's family, because that was so just
bam,
and that wide shot through all the glass doors and windows where you could see the entire family get taken out, and then like the gurgling of that was where I was like, oh god, I think this is the stuff Mary's worried about.
No, actually, that didn't bother me as much.
All right, well, good. And Ophelia instead of Alexa.
No, but I think that this movie is going to have a lot of people reconsidering houses with almost all windows.
Yeah,
those are hard to fortify.
But you can also see everything coming. I know it's tricky all the way around. And then there's a stupid horror movie thing, and too with when the young girl doppelganger, and they're doing all the stuff with the car, which is actually great. I love that the little girl wanted to drive and she runs her over, but she gets on the roof all creepy, and then she's like, I'll slam the brakes. Oh shit, that didn't work. She's hanging here, and I'll speed up and I'll slam the brakes again. I thought all that was great. But then the mom, I gotta get out and go check on this, make sure she's dead. I'm like, why? Your plan is to flee.
Actually, no, I actually agree with her on that one.
But it's such a horror movie thing. You don't do that.
You confirm the fucking kill.
But also, even if I will give you that, in a system of you are fighting doppelgangers, no one goes off alone. Because how do you know the doppelganger? I mean, obviously these would have been a little more obvious.
As soon as they try to talk.
Yeah, I know. These would have been a bit more obvious, but still. I don't know. I like Lupita Nyong'o's doppelganger voice. It grew on me, but initially it was kind of like...
Well, I think it's supposed to be one of those things where, none of them really seem to talk to begin with.
Well, yeah, because the Winston Duke doppelganger was making people laugh inappropriately, so...
That and the other guy, the Tim and Eric guy.
Yeah, well, he was really doing it too, and it was more comedic the way he was doing it.
But no, the other thing was, you gotta remember, her doppelganger choked her out. Oh.
No, we're in spoilers.
You're in spoilers.
Yeah,
do we want to get into that section though?
Oh, we can.
Okay.
Again, yeah, that's your warning. I mean, when we're in spoilers, you never know. We don't typically go linear, so.
Because
it's full spoilers.
This would be jumping straight to the end.
Yeah, and I don't think you did spoil anything terribly yet. I don't think you said it clearly enough. Yeah. But yeah, just know that. I mean, we may talk about.
We want to talk about something else first before we get to the end.
We can talk about however you want to talk about it.
Okay.
Let's just wrap it up in 4 minutes.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and skip to the end then.
All right. Yeah, let's talk about the end.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you want to talk about.
The twist.
The twist.
So it turns out Lupita was the doppelganger.
Okay, you're going way towards the end. Okay, which is fine.
That was the end.
No,
I said
know.
the end.
I thought you meant you wanted to like start at like the end, like the whole end, not the very, which is fine. I'm not saying it's fine. You're jumping there.
Oh yeah, I guess we should talk about that other thing too.
Well, yeah, because I thought that's where we're going to go.
Start where you want to start.
Well, no, if you want to
go.
Go. Welcome to the Eric and Mary argue video. By the way, that's pretty much the extent of us arguing. Yeah, okay, well, I'll just go into the thing that bothered me. Well, a couple things. Okay, so, the kid was smart and realized his doppelganger would do what the kid did. So he backed his doppelganger into the fire to kill him.
Which, that's the other thing that I was going like, because the way that they, oh God, no, you talk.
Okay, no,
I'm jumping way ahead again.
All right, well, anyways. One thing, again, a horror movie cliche thing that bothered me there is, why is no one looking at their kid? The father and the daughter ran off to the side to get away because he figured it was a trap, which was great. But it's like, no one watched to see him get snatched by the doppelganger. Which also, how did the doppelganger show up? How did she have this magical ability to show up out of nowhere when no one else did? And, as we find out, she's not even the doppelganger, that, the real one is the doppelganger. So that kind of irked me a little bit. But then, the mama, she runs off after her to save the kid. And I love that descent where, like, she keeps going down into a basement, into another, like, she came in a place on the beach, down to the basement, into another basement,
like
into another basement, into another, and then, like, and she gets to the escalator, and it's like getting fiery.
And then the escalator, it's like, what's an escalator doing down here?
Right, but it was like in a creepy, like, oh, okay, now we're getting into, like, the surreal, she's descending into hell kind of stuff. And then I also had an issue there because it was building this great tension, and for some reason he chose to cut to this completely unnecessary scene of the father and the daughter in the ambulance just to make a joke. I don't even remember what the joke was, and then cut right back into her descent.
It was the bad, what's it called? Art. It's a type of art form.
Oh, performance art.
Thank you.
Yeah, because they saw the line. It's like, they look like they're doing performance art. And I mean, that was all that scene was, and I don't think that was, especially in that moment, was necessary there at all. And it broke this great tension that it almost started to feel like classic Italian horror of the descent into hell and madness at the end. And I thought that was a weird choice to put that scene there. But I love that descent. And then we're finding out, oh my God, there's this creepy ass underground world. And then, with the rabbits. Well, they mentioned that they're feeding on raw rabbits. I like the idea that they got the opposite of what was going on to their above ground counterparts. They got the nice stuff up here, so we got the shit stuff down here. And it was also kind of interesting that as they were making the doppelgangers were making the real families feel fear, the doppelgangers seemed to get happier because again, it was kind of balancing. So I thought things like that were really cool.
Yeah.
But they make a point to mention the fact that all those doppelgangers were created by humans. It was like an experiment by humans and then abandoned and forgotten. And that is the thing that really bothered me about this movie. I don't think that was necessary at all. I don't buy that explanation at all because it made me sit there and start thinking, well, how did they doppelganger everybody? Why did they only make one of everybody? Why wouldn't they still, what was even the purpose? What is all this stuff? Like, it's a whole other thing that ends up having nothing to do with the movie.
Usually when experiments like that go down, you usually kill all the subjects.
Yeah, you would think there's that. So we could have, even if they were going that route, they needed to do more with that, like show like, oh, the doctors or the attendants had been slaughtered and the inmates are running the asylum now or something.
Well, I think what happened was it was actually working in reverse of what they were expecting. Because I don't think the doppelgangers were actually controlling the people on top. I think they were just being puppeted. They were being forced to imitate what the people on top were doing. Yes. Because you see that with the boy and his doppelganger.
Right, I agree.
Although, in the fact that he's only half-breed, and okay, that's a whole different.
Yeah, that opens up a whole other can of worms too, because of the big twist at the end.
Yeah.
That you were saying.
Because you go back to the flashback where she meets her doppelganger as a kid. Doppelganger chokes her out, drags her down below, switches out clothes with her, and goes with the parents. Which
does actually make a lot of great sense that's why she was the one that could lead them all, because she wasn't actually a doppelganger, and that this was all like a grand plan to be her revenge, even though they didn't really play that angle so much.
And her voice may have been because something may have been damaged when...
Eating all that raw rabbit or some shit maybe too.
She got choked out. You think that doesn't maybe fuck up your voice box?
Okay, first off, you don't actually have to do that to me. You know how upset you would be if I did that to you.
Sorry.
Second, the choke. When she first showed up, her voice is already fucked up. Oh, you mean choked as a kid? Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm sorry, you kind of distracted me with the demonstration there. So again, it opens up all kinds of weird questions and paradoxes that, the doppelganger had the kids, so her kids were actually, like you said, half-breed doppelganger, and so it's a bunch of... And that kind of stuff I'm okay with, because at least that's like, well, let's think this through. It makes you think about the movie.
Yeah.
But that it was this human experiment. And that was the twist, by the way.
So... I'm sorry.
No, it's
Go
okay.
ahead.
Okay, that was the twist that I was talking about earlier, that I halfway into the movie, I was like, it'd be really cool if that was like the twist, that she had switched out when this is actually the doppelganger. But by the time we got to it,
well, the thing is,
I didn't want it anymore.
Were you wanting her to be switched out as an adult?
No, as a child.
Or as a kid? Okay.
Like, I liked that, like the twist as they did it.
Okay.
But because that came after all this other stuff that already kind of took me out of the movie with this whole the humans created all the doppelganger thing, and I'm already figuring all that. So then by the time that happens after that, I'm like, now I don't need that twist, and it was totally obvious by that point that was what was going to happen.
So I was going to finish the other part of my thought. Was where is maybe a failed experiment because it worked in reverse of what they wanted. They said, you know what, we've got cameras here. We're just going to leave and see what happens.
That could be interesting.
It's part of the same organization that thought transplanting white people's brains into black people's bodies was a good idea.
Now, you might be onto something there. He might be creating a Peeliverse, because it could fit. This movie could fit in that universe. Except this would have to kind of definitely be towards the end game, because as it shows at the end, the hands across America, like everybody has a doppelganger is what I'm taking from that.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, okay, again, not sure what humanity's purpose was there. And again, that's why I can't tell how much I do or don't like this movie, because I liked it, but I'm so hung up on that one thing. Like, that's bothering me so much that I just can't wrap my head around the rest of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it would have been cooler to just not even try to explain the doppelgangers at all. Let it be more of a supernatural thing, or more importantly, an up to each individual audience member thing. And that's what we would have come out like, what do you think they were? What do you think that could be, that would be cool if it, that kind of discussion. So, and that's why I say the thing that they revealed, I don't think they needed to reveal, because that element added nothing to the story, and for me, it just took out a lot of the story.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, again, maybe it's one of those things, I need more viewings to comprehend something I'm missing. I don't know. And I think that just comes from the disappointment, is like, are we really, and it's a good movie, like, I'm not trying to knock it, it's totally worth seeing, but it's not as great as we would have hoped, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as Get Out. I was hoping, but, it's like, I don't know, it's just... Because it's very well made.
Some of those things just kind of like, if I'd read the script, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to need you to explain a few things.
Yeah, it's like maybe one more draft. Just one more draft. Let's clean up this ending a little bit more.
And take out the stuff at the beginning. Those first two things, I think just get rid of them.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I feel like if you took out the explanation of the human-made part, that stuff would make that creepier, and I don't know, a little bit more of like, oh man, what the fuck is going on?
That's not part of the beginning, though, that they're human-made.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying the whole tunnel setup. I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm like, I could see it going both ways.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here going like, when the fuck are we getting to tunnels? That's like the whole thing that's running through
yeah.
my head the entire time. When we get into some fucking tunnels, because
Yeah, that's the thing that stuck in your head so much that you carried it through the whole movie. Much like me sticking with the human experiment. What? Especially after I had just watched her walk down all these stairs, and I started getting some hardcore Resident Evil vibes. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm playing RE2 right now. This is cool. Yep. Oh, gotta go down these stairs. Gotta go down these. Where's Mr. X? Okay, no footsteps. But that's a story for another time. Good question. That's a story for another time. Speaking of Maz Kanata. Okay. So I guess that's pretty much our thoughts. You got anything else? Was there any super important details we need to hit on? What the fuck was the kid's magic trick supposed to be? Is it just that he could shoot sparks? Is it just
I
like
think
the
it was supposed to
cheesy...
be like a spark thing. So maybe if you have flash paper, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. I feel like that should have been something more.
Yeah. Because I was sitting there going like, dude, that just looks like a lighter thing.
I know, that's what I kept thinking too. Yeah.
A little zip lighter type.
Like Zippo, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I guess Lupita's creepy smile towards the kid at the end. The kid, I don't understand how the kid figured it out.
Well,
other than just watching her murder her animalistically. I don't know.
Well, okay, so the kid was hiding in the locker. Was he there the entire time? Did he somehow overhear the conversation between, his mom and the doppelganger?
But did they discuss that she swapped out? I don't recall them discussing that in that moment. That was just shown to us via flashbacks.
Oh, I think you might be right.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused on that, too. That's what I'm saying. I really need to watch this one again before I can fully solidify my thoughts on it, I think, and where I stand on it. Which is good. That in itself is a mark of good art. I mean, it's got us thinking and contemplating, so, so yeah. But anyways, again, I'm not, by no means am I giving up on Peele. Twilight Zone looks great. I hope he makes 1,000 more movies, and I hope they're fucking awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
The other thing that made me wonder is like, okay, if the one that got switched out, does she just lose all memory that she was from Topside?
Yeah, because
she acted like she was there the entire time.
You are right about that, and I kind of suggested that this was her revenge, but they never really played that angle that this was her revenge, so maybe there is something. I mean, that's another good question. Why doesn't she...
Well, it was sort of a revenge thing, but more of a group thing. Is like, why do you guys get to live in the life?
Well, yeah, it was revenge in that regard for sure. They definitely did that, but I mean, I was assuming it was specifically her revenge, but I guess they didn't really touch on that, so...
Although she did say, why didn't you take me with you?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I think I'm about talked out on it. I don't think I got anything else to give. Unless you got anything. I can't think of anything else.
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. And, did we forget the Stan Lee cameo like in Captain Marvel?
Did we do that?
Yeah, we got a comment. I think you even answered the comment.
Oh, yeah. I probably said, whoops.
That's exactly what you said. Well, anyways, it was great. I'll just say that about the Stan Lee cameo in Captain Marvel. I won't spoil it here in case you haven't seen it. But for those that missed that, we loved it. It was one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos.
Now I'm wondering if there's an a get out Easter egg in there that we just missed.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Did anybody drink any tea? I don't remember that. Is there like a cup of tea out somewhere?
No, I don't remember seeing any tea.
Yeah. Well, there was running. Does that count? I'm stretching. All right. Anyways, what did y'all think? So this is obviously careful. I forgot to say this at the beginning. But
now, if the doppelganger had like run like.
Yeah. Oh, the engine turned on when you did that. I thought you were really shaking the car, but that was some interesting timing.
Okay.
But anyways, let us know, what did y'all think about it? You can talk spoilers in the comments. I should have warned the non-spoiler people, don't read the comments. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you're agreeing, disagreeing, what you're thinking, anything we missed, whatever, just comment away. We look forward to your thoughts. Other than that, you can click the thumbs up button. You can give us the good old thumb of encouragement, as we do love to be encouraged. Here, let's thumbnail. Good. All right. And I guess we're going to get out of here so we can go see some more stuff.
There's some weird-ass faces for this movie.
I know, right? It's almost Charlie's Angels. All right. We're going to get out of here. We're going to watch some more stuff. We'll see you all later.